Okay, Hazel, do you want to get us going?
Well, okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our 27th cafe. We're very happy to be here. I'm very happy to welcome you all here. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I'm going to hand you over to Megan to begin with, because whereas the cafe began as a part of the EntreComPEdu program, we're also very happy to welcome partners and participants in the EntreComp Europe project. So Megan is going to take a couple of minutes to explain the links to the project to us. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Hazel. So as Hazel said, the EntreComPEdu Café is now taking part, being hosted by EntreComp Europe, of which Bantony is also a partner, along with many others who I'll go into in just a moment. So if this is your first time joining EntreComPEdu Café, or it's your first time joining us in this autumn season, welcome along, and I hope that you'll enjoy today's session. If you're not familiar with EntreComp Europe, I'll briefly explain what the project does. Well, before we jump into that, I will just make it clear to you that we are recording today's session. So if you prefer not to be recorded, please just turn your camera off, or feel free to change your name as well if you wish. You can send questions to the speaker at any time using the chat function. And at the end of the session, you might also be able to just open your microphone and ask your questions directly. Okay. So EntreComp Europe explores how to inspire and be inspired to implement EntreComp through strategies and activities across communities. These communities are working in many different areas, such as lifelong learning, youth work, schools, universities, employment organisations, and businesses with entrepreneurs. We really are quite multifaceted. Whereas EntreComPEdu is dedicated towards education, EntreComp Europe is a little bit broader than that, and we go into lots of different areas. There are 5 member countries: Spain, Belgium, Italy, Moldova, and Turkey. And each one of these leads into a collaborative community. All of these communities you'll be able to find on Facebook. Very simple to find. So if you do want to go and join in, please go ahead. Don't be concerned about the name of the community if you're not from that country. You're very welcome to join anyway. And here you can see a quick snapshot of all of the different partners that we've got. There are 3 practice pillars within EntreComp Europe: youth work and education, employment and enterprise, and assessment and digitalization. Those of you who might have joined some of our previous sessions, both of EntreComPEdu and EntreComp Europe, will know that Hazel is a real star in the assessment and digitalization pillar. That's definitely her forte. So if you want to stay in touch with EntreComp Europe, you've got many ways of doing that. We're on Twitter at EntreComp Europe. You can also sign up for the newsletter, which we will post the link into the chat, or you can find us at EntreCompEurope.eu. Thank you very much. Back to you, Hazel.
Thank you, Megan. Well, we're absolutely delighted to be introducing Wisam Shamroukh to you today. He's an education entrepreneur with nearly 2 decades of experience, 20 years at the Palestine Polytechnic University, where he's currently a lecturer in innovation and entrepreneurship. He's a master trainer for entrepreneurial education based on EntreComp, as well as being one of our first EntreComPEdu teacher pioneers. Wisam also collaborates as Global Selection Program Consultant at United World Colleges and the Schmidt Futures and Rhodes Trust Rise Initiative, identifying inspiring young talent. But I would also like to mention his work setting up EntreComp Arabic, which is a group on Facebook, linking in with other colleagues in the Arab-speaking world to share ideas and practices around EntreComp and entrepreneurial learning. So thank you so much, Wisam, for agreeing to deliver a session for us today. And as Megan said, I have a particular passion for assessment, so I'm very excited and interested to hear what Wisam's going to share with us this afternoon. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat and we'll keep an eye and be able to pose the questions to Wisam for you. So without further ado, I shall hand you over to Wisam. Wisam, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, this EntreComp Cafe has become, part of our lives when it comes to cafes in English. And we were just waiting for this meeting to share practices and hear everybody's experiences. Today, I'm going to talk about how to evaluate, how to assess the competency of valuing ideas that is in EntreComp framework, which is something that we are all proud of, and we have used a lot of the learning outcomes in this framework. And as you see, it's in my library all the time, the EntreComp wheel. The idea was in my entrepreneurship course, for the current semester and the previous 2 semesters, I was focusing on ideas and opportunities of EntreComp. Now I'm using all my learning outcomes from EntreComp almost most of the time, and I feel so comfortable using them and practicing them with my students. And my students are of second and third level year students at the university, at Palestine Polytechnic University, with different disciplines and majors, but most of them are engineering and information technology. Before the summer break, we had quite a lot of discussions about the EntreAssess tool. Hazel was leading the production development of EntreAssess tool, and I was so curious about how to use them, and I came up with, or I started practicing using the tool that in EntreAssess, in particular in the what and who is assessing, what we are assessing and who we are assessing. And the major question was one of the competencies. Hazel wanted us to use more than 2 competencies to assess, but this time she will allow me to use only one, which is the valuing ideas. Now, how do we reach the point where we need to assess this competence? Was after some time with students doing some work. So we start with asking students to come up with ideas, and the way they come, we have in our university, we have adapted a model for the analysis of a business idea or an entrepreneurial idea. And that was called the IMAR model, in which we analyze the idea, the motivation, the abilities, and the resources. But basically now what we need to, what we asked our students to work on was just the idea, just to come up with a valuable idea, with an idea that can have a value for the targeted audience of that idea, whether they were themselves as students or as entrepreneurs, or for their society or the surrounding. We used the business idea generation techniques like brainstorming, like innovation, like bi-association of ideas, and so on. So whatever was the approach that we have used to come up with the idea, now we reach a point where we want to introduce this idea and explain it, or just pitch it and show it to others, using the tools, or some of the tools that we were using were like the value proposition canvas. That was one of the ways in which students were trained to practice delivering the ideas, the functions in their product or service that they came up with, together with the gains or pains and gain creators and pain relievers in their idea. They were also using this form of the business model canvas to present their ideas. Now, for the time being, they present their ideas to people to their peers, actually. So because since last year, we were not able to conduct events in which students pitch their ideas to business people or to the industry. We had some limited size events in which students presented their ideas, their business ideas, or even non-business ideas. But basically, we tried to drive the thinking towards business ideas as much as we could, but we accepted social and cultural values. Now, why we assess the idea, the value of the idea after this, because we want students to get engaged with the idea in a way or another, in more than one way. We wanted them to see what functional requirements they have in their idea, what are the specifications in the idea, and whether from their viewpoint, from their perspective, whether their idea is offering the value that somebody else is looking for, which are their customers or their clients, whether there is something that we can describe as an added value or a gain in the idea. And that was a little bit difficult for everyone, including myself, because sometimes we mix between the gains and the actual requirements or the basic requirements. But you know, we were trying all the time. Now, the other involvement, the business model canvas, was more comprehensive, because students had to work. Now, all the time, the focus is on the value of the idea, and then moving sometimes to the right of the business model canvas, in which they specify who can benefit from their ideas and how they are going to keep in touch with them, and you know, the channels and the relationships that they want to create with them. On the other hand, on our left hand side is the whether their idea is something that is practical and doable and can be done. And on the lower part, we talk about and explain what revenue model they have and what cost structure in their idea. So they at this point, they will have been involved intensively in their idea and in its implementation. And at this point, they will, most of them will have asked so many questions. And, you know, last week we had the discussion of this business model canvas with my students, and some of them are present in this meeting. And some of them, because they were a little bit reluctant about the type of value they are offering, they went back and changed their ideas. I usually do not accept changing the idea, but we give always a margin for students to do things at in their comfortable way. So at this point, we reached where students are able to present their idea, just to say something about it, focusing on the value in their idea, and then telling us about other issues that are related to the implementation of their idea. Now we want to assess them and assess their ideas, and here I need the help, your help, Hazel. You know, it is about what are you evaluating or assessing, you know. And I came up with this model, this very clear model, you know. This is in Arabic, but I translated it into English because I was using the learning outcomes of EntreComp. And based on these learning outcomes, I came up with points of assessment in the model. Okay, so the basic objective is to judge whether the value is of a social, economic, or cultural one. And if there is a potential in the idea for implementing it or for making the most out of the idea. And I came up with 10 points of criteria, which are the skills. And these skills actually are the first 7 of them are actual learning outcomes in EntreComp. So for those who used EntreComp and know about them, we have 8 learning outcomes in each thread. So I'm using those that I wanted specifically for valuing the idea. And I gave this to my students, asking them to grade them from 1 to 5. And you know, Hazel, here comes the question, whether when we say that the idea has a value for oneself and for others, I was a little bit confused at the beginning, whether it is me able to assess this skill, or I'm assessing the content of the idea itself. And I discovered something really interesting I will show you now in the results. So starting with whether the idea is of value of the individual or for the others, whether there is a value for the community other than simply few people benefiting from an idea, distinguish between the type of the idea, whether the idea is something that can be implemented, that can be executed, that can be seen in life in the future, near future, or whichever period of time. This is one of the interesting questions we had in the skills, whether the individual is able to express their understanding. I'm telling now the secret because my students hear what we have done last week. Whether the individual is able to break down the idea into different values, because if they understand what the actual value is, they may come up with ideas regarding the breakdown of the value, or even the look to future of the idea, or even the strategies to make the most of this idea in the surrounding. And as well, the last one, which is about telling who can benefit from the idea, or who is affected by the idea, either negatively or positively, saying about the stakeholders or the partners of the idea. And as I show here, I used a scale from 1 to 5 about the applicability of the skill or the item. And then one more thing I did, I asked my students to write down something as much as they can about describing their judgment about this skill, what they see in this level of the value of the skill. Whether the value was like number 5, that means they have seen a lot of value in the idea, so they could express. And to my surprise, they wrote a lot of things. Actually, I will show you now the results of last week. I have distributed it and asked them to assess randomly ideas presented. Last week we had a long week of presentation meetings in which every student was presenting their ideas either in a business model canvas or in the value proposition described earlier. So they wrote a lot of things, and to my surprise, they wrote what I can call an added value in the ideas. Here I just marked them in red to show them to you. They're in Arabic. So for example, when they say what course of action, the course of action that could be taken, or strategies to implement the idea, they could describe something, whether it is correct completely or not, but at least they were able to comprehend the value and being able to express it. So of course, I have them all here with me, and I'm really proud of the work of my students. I hope that they are hearing me now, who have joined us.
Yes, it's me, Dr.
So, Muhammad and Hala. That's really nice to have you with us. And here I'm going to show this for the discussion purposes. I'm showing here the form itself, and it is first in Arabic, and then we can show this part that is in English. So this is my model. I have used it for the first time this current semester with some of the students. I had, I think, about 70 something students, and about 30 of them evaluated. I just wanted them to select an idea of their choice of what they hear in the class, and just fill the form. Yes, Hazel, that's it.
I think it's an excellent form. I like the way that they have to score it, but I like the description as much, really, because it means they really have to drill deep into their ideas to consider these different perspectives. What about the students? Did they develop their ideas in response to the findings of this exercise? Did they sort of improve and develop those ideas?
Actually, what they have developed actually was their abilities to look and discuss and evaluate or assess the other ideas. Now, I'm not sure if I can have time until the end of the semester, which is the rest of or December, if we can come up with new ideas based on this current discussion. We may try that. Yes.
Excellent. Yes, great. So from our audience then, would you be willing to give us your responses about what you like about this approach from the audience, sort of your initial responses to this? There are lots of things I like about it. I think it's very useful, but also that peer assessment. Yes, Philippe.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Wisam. And
Hi.
thank you for the interesting description of an interesting tool. I have one question, and I have also something to propose to you. Because what I like in your approach is that you put the learning outcomes on the left here, the skills, as a way of how students can, I think, assess themselves in terms of, are they aware of the value creating quality of an idea? And I think also by putting a value, like putting a score, which at the end is, I think, summed up, they probably have an idea of the actual value creating quality of an idea. Is that correct how I see it?
Yes, actually, this number is describing a relative value of the ideas, because
yes,
when they put the score for a certain idea, then the score is out of 50. So we look at the relative value of the idea during this semester and for this specific group.
Okay, and this is something that they do individual. It's not something where they compare or they ask other students. No. Can you also assess my idea or the value creating quality of the idea?
So far, what we have done is to have each student individually assess others. So current semester, we had a kind of random assessment. Now, regarding the learning outcomes, actually, I thought of having more than one criteria for each single learning outcome. But then I said, let me try first for this semester is just to have all the 7 or 8 learning outcomes, each of them weighing the same value. But then later we may think, for example, of dividing, for example, the first one into 3 or 4 criteria of assessment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then one last question. When you describe the skills, do they take into account the different progression levels of the learning outcomes? As you know that there are 8 within EntreComp.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, I thought of this. Now, starting with the first one, this is the basic level, and
the basic, and then
7,
at the end, the 8th one. Okay.
the most advanced one. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why you need at a certain point is to divide the one learning outcome into more than one criteria of assessment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hamad, you have your hand up.
Yes, hello. I want to say that valuing the projects, it's according to how the project is clear. So last day, I was presenting a project to my professor, Dr. Wisam Shamroukh, and my project unluckily was going to be failed because my presentation, because it's not the object of this presentation are not clear. I have a nice idea of my project, but it's not clear. Yes, he said to me, you should repeat your project, repeat your presentation to be more clearly, more the ability to limit the time of the project, and the valuing is according to this these ideas. Yes, that's I want to say.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I can see how it would be a really useful tool. I really like the way that you've used EntreComp as a dictionary of learning outcomes and selected the ones that help you in this instance. That's excellent. But it's a great model, I imagine, for many of the competencies. I think this might work for some of the others as well. Have you considered using it with other competencies other than valuing ideas, something like planning and management or
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but after probably hopefully next semester, I will be trying to see some other competencies. And what I think of as well is to specify the work to be done with 1 or 2 specific learning outcomes. Because learning outcomes are very, very hard work, and if we can succeed in building up a model or a tool for measuring the success of a learning outcome, to be able to specify that this individual or this person has mastered this learning outcome as part of a skill, then we will have done a good job, I think. So I'll try.
Yes, yes.
Usually I focus my work in the ideas and opportunities. I don't like much to go to the resources, for example, but we can try, yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's excellent. Any questions or comments from other participants and your responses to the tool? Things you like about it, ways you can see that it could be used?
Hala, my student.
Yes, I have a comment.
Hi, Hala.
So as a student can you hear me clearly?
Yes, lovely, thank you.
Okay, thank you. As a student for Mr. Wisam, I think that this form was really helpful to evaluating ideas of my colleagues. We presented our project on Saturday and it was a very helpful forum to evaluate my colleague ideas, and it really enlightened me in parts where I can evaluate projects that I haven't considered or haven't thought about. And I even got the chance to have my own project evaluated by this forum, and it helped me to see if whether me and my audience had we were on the same page, where I explained for them my project. And in this way, I think it can be very good for a person to know if he presented what he think in his mind, because sometimes we think that we offered something in our mind, but in reality we offered something else. So it's very helpful to have it, and I think, yeah, we can use it in other fields to evaluate.
Yes, yes, excellent. Thank you.
By
Thank
the
you for that.
way, Hala is an entrepreneur, and she is having their own project that we hope to see in the near future.
Good luck with your venture, Hala. All the best. Excellent.
Thank you, Hazel. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Yes, I can see how that form would be very helpful to get feedback from partners, colleagues, but also end users. You know, the criterion for creating value for others, then it's the others who you intend to create value for, who would be well placed to give you feedback on the idea. You know, do they think it'll work? Or even once you have completed the activity, to complete the tool, to use the tool again to evaluate how it went retrospectively, summatively, you know, looking back. And it's such a simple tool, really, Wisam. That's what I like about it. You know, it's not complicated, it's not expensive, but it really encourages that sort of deeper dive into the idea, testing the idea before you start.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's really helpful. Any other comments or questions from the group? Has anybody used anything similar?
Well, yes, if I may, and I would like to ask Wisam if we could share after this session, or I mean via LinkedIn or whatever, or email, because I use a similar kind of value assessment tool. It focuses more on the quality of the product that is the result of an idea development. And what I like here is that it lets students think, like Hala said, where am I at this moment with my idea, and what do other people think about it? Because it's something I think that we see with a lot of students everywhere, that the minute they develop an idea and they get enthusiastic about it, they say like, okay, this is a great idea. But the minute they start to check it with their peers, they understand that if you look to ideas from a different point of view, you get a lot of more enriching insights. And so I see a complementary combination of your tool and my tool, in order to do that dive even deeper, as you say, Hazel, into the value of ideas, and also the way of how people deal with ideas. So I'm really happy to have followed this, Wisam.
Okay, I have sent the form
okay
in the chat. Yeah.
All right.
Cool. And
great, thank you.
I'm always willing to share anything that we have done. You know, the idea was I usually tell students that an idea that is an entrepreneurial idea does not have to be very complicated. It may or may not contain an element of creativity, innovation, technology. It could be any idea, as long as there is a definition for entrepreneurship in which is based on spotting opportunities. If there is an opportunity, an idea that you can feel there may be a value to offer. Okay, now this is very simple to answer, But then comes the other question: what is the value? Where is the value in the idea? Is it of a value or not? This is what we were trying to answer in this model. Now, later, if you can have enough time and put more efforts, then you can come up with more comprehensive model to assess each and every learning outcome and make sure that your form is of like 30 or 40 elements of assessment.
Thanks for sharing it, Wisam, but only it's the Arabic version. my Arabic is not so good, so
no. The second page is in English.
Oh, sorry.
The second
okay.
page is in
I
English.
didn't look good. Sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Aisha Shalalda, you had your hand up a moment ago. Do you have a question or a comment you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm in my second year in Polytechnic University. To be honest, I got this course with Dr. Wisam Shamroukh, and I learned a lot from this course. I learned how to build or how to create an idea and give value to others. I think this was a great course, and it was so helpful for us as a student.
Excellent. That's really good to hear. Did you use this tool as well to test your idea?
Yes, of course.
Brilliant. And did it give you more detail? Were there any surprises when you completed the form, or did you look for feedback from other people, or did you just complete it on your own?
No, I noticed that a lot of students have a good feedback about this course.
Excellent. That's great. Yes, thank you for your comments. Anybody else got questions or comments?
I have a comment actually.
Hi.
Okay,
Hi,
so
Wisam.
okay, hello, my name is Wisam. At first, before I take this course, like I had a lot of ideas that I wanted to implement. I had some project ideas, but I have never knew how to implement them. Once I took this course, it gave me a clear idea how I can work my project, and it kind of like set me on track. I now, if I want to start a project now, I exactly know how to evaluate and to calculate the outcomes. So it's kind of much safer, and now it feels like I can do it the professional way. I don't have to maybe have some maybe wrong decisions. Sometimes these decisions may affect us bad, but after I took this course, it just felt safe to take them. It felt well calculated, and I think it's very helpful for everyone to take.
Excellent. That's good to know. Excellent. Thank you for the feedback. That's really helpful. Any other comments or questions?
Hazel, if I can.
Yes.
We're always really pleased to see EntreComp being used in other languages, and especially in non-European languages. I think that's really, really important. So I just want to know more about how well you think your Arabic-speaking, your Palestinian students have responded to EntreComp, considering it comes perhaps from a bit more of a European perspective. And do you think that there are enough resources in Arabic, or is that a route that you're still working towards?
Well, you know, all the Arabic world and all the world is offering entrepreneurship initiatives, and from my point of view, I just focused all my thinking and all my mindset is around EntreComp. Now we have just translated the entry assess tool, but we didn't test using a tool in Arabic yet. Now this was done only during the summer. I believe that translating it into Arabic, translating the EntreComp itself, and which there is a copy in Arabic, will help a lot trainers, teachers, and students to and dealing with entrepreneurship in Arabic as well will help them a lot in comprehending the entrepreneurial mindset. You know, teaching and training entrepreneurship is not like teaching them mechanics or engineering or information technology or development or software engineering. Here is something that you teach not for, and this has changed my mindset about teaching as well. You are teaching something that is not only for the exam, it's for changing the mindset of your students and your audience. A little bit ago, when Hussam said that he had a lot of ideas, I was discussing with him, never mention or never think of more than one idea, just to keep focused on his thinking for his dream, for his vision. Okay, so the having entrepreneurship in Arabic in any way, and I'm working on something, and hopefully it will be able to be released in the future, in the near future, hopefully, which offers entrepreneurship in Arabic. It helps a lot. It helps a lot, actually. And I have this little group of EntreComp in Arabic, and I receive questions from Tunisia and from Egypt almost every week about entrepreneurship in Arabic.
Excellent. That's good to know. And
but you know, I asked my daughter to translate this logo in Arabic, and she didn't do that until now, and she hears me. But she will do that.
Can I just say that, you know, I'm really sorry to join late. I'm Ellen. I'm also from Bantini Education, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Wisam for some time now. But I just wanted to add that just a thank you from my side, really, as a personal thank you, because you've done so much in the Arabic language for EntreComp to really try and open it up, and also the sort of leading the EntreComp Arab group on Facebook and with our colleagues in Tunisia is brilliant. So I am so sorry I couldn't join from the beginning, but I'm just glad to be here at the end and able to listen to the recording as well, and just to say thank you, because I really appreciate that, just from a personal side, because I'm fairly passionate about this topic, and I think Wisam is too.
Yes,
Ellen,
brilliant.